Hello, and welcome to the continuation of episode 2 of the review of the book from Malouin, which is The Art of the Baker, Pastry Chef, and Pasta Maker. Last time we took a segment and I said that was the introduction to you about the book, which is full of surprises and great information. So I figured let's go through the second episode where I take you through the fact that I'm learning in the book, and then we'll continue on and on. So thank you for your patience and for waiting for number 2. So here's what I've learned. We're in an era in 1750, around that time, when yeast was becoming available commercially. So we were getting dry yeast that was coming from the brewers, the beer makers who needed yeast. So that's when bakers realized, like, hey, can we guys swap? And that's why bakers and brewers were very tight, because we needed our yeast from the history of it. And rumors in the page here, as I'm reading, it says that dry yeast was performing better than liquid yeast at the time. It had more strength. But remember, transporting yeast was very difficult. In France at the time, they had 2 factories doing it. But one thing that they're mentioning, that with it says that when you work with the yeast of the time right here, they were finding out that onion will destroy. They didn't know why, but they realized that onion was not good for the yeast. And they also realized at the time the yeast was so sensitive that it was known, and rumors at the time, that people with bad breath, just having a bad breath in the morning. Imagine 1750, Europe, where in the morning says good morning, and that would affect the yeast and make your bread not work. So basically, we're talking about hygiene. So this was how yeast was starting to be used. But let's remember, as commercial yeast is coming into the industry of baking, people are perfecting the art of sourdough. And in the book, basically, Dr. Malouin realized that the issue with yeast, a new commercial yeast, was that it deteriorated the quality and the shelf life of the bread. Those are information I've forgotten. I didn't make it up. This is in the book from 1764. Those informations and facts are here. And we've forgotten, how did we start yeast? And how did, as a tradition of bakers, did we get there? So, and it says you made, in France, the French Parliament of Paris basically agreed to pass a law in the March 21st of 1670, where the bakers were allowed to use yeast officially as an additive. Before that, it was all sourdough. So 1670, in March 21st, that's when we're seeing a change. And it's right around the Industrial Revolution, where it's all about how do we commercialize more. But moving on to the next few facts, what I've learned too is, did you know that the Romans at the time, bakers, they had a school for bakers, and if you were trained as a baker, it's in the book again, rich in information, you had to remain a baker for the rest of your life. You could not do anything else. So that means your children, what happens to your children? If you have sons, they will be bakers. They will work the trade. If you had a daughter, then your daughter, when she marries, her husband will become a baker, and so on and so on. And you are not allowed to move from being a baker. And gladiators and bakers were 2 professions that were highly regarded within the Roman era, because you needed basically bakers to feed the masses, and you needed the gladiators to entertain, quote unquote, entertain the crowd. So that's what I wanted to share with you. We'll continue to episode 3. And please, give me some comments. We'll go through real facts from the past, and how bakeries and bakers used to do it, and how we've evolved from 1670 to what we do today, and how did the products change, and how much have we lost of the art of baking that was written in this beautiful book. So again, gorgeous, as you can see, gorgeous book. Thank you for listening, and thank you for participating in the review of Malouin, l'art des boulangers, pâtissiers et vermiceliers. Et bonne soirée et à plus. Merci.